Hope is the beginning of faith, springing up from the deepest core of our soul, the recess of our soul.
Hope is an internal struggle against despair. Internal? Yes, because it arises from our core or the deepest part of ourselves. It arises from the recess of our soul, which are thoughts or feelings we have that are hidden or difficult to describe. I love those words, recess of the soul. It comes from a deep place within me. I wanted to include it in this writing piece, and this is the place I have chosen to insert it. I'm going to step out on a limb and say that it arises from the deep subconscious, where the deepest part of us communes with God. We usually don't apply much hope when things are going well for us. William Blake poetically says it this way: hope is a creative force that connects humanity to the infinite. Hope is creative because it is created through our yearning. In the beginning, hope doesn't exist. Babies don't hope things will work out. It's not until we sense some type of separation from the truth that we are made in God's image and everything we need to survive has already been supplied for us to live on earth, that the desire hope seems necessary. When we hope, we yearn for something greater than ourselves. We call it God to step in and solve our problems. It's like asking for a miracle, something else we believe is beyond our reach. Hope alone is vain, much like faith without action. It is wishing, usually not knowing that action must be taken toward the wish desired. For what are you hoping? Are you hoping to get well? Are you hoping to one day move into a different neighborhood? Are you hoping to find a mate? Then consider what steps must be taken to achieve these outcomes. It could be going to the hospital facility or researching and using natural remedies, finding alternative ways to increase your income, joining a dating app, or just getting outside. How do you hope to pass the test without any studying on your part? Are you hoping that the Knicks win the game? In the last case, you are desiring a certain outcome completely outside of yourself. Is hope the right word to use in that case? If one chooses to use the word hope or not, it really doesn't matter. A compilation of any letters could have been put together to represent the various meanings of hope. The authorities or makers of the dictionary could have given the meaning of hope to any set of letters. The intention behind the word hope was stated above: an internal struggle against despair or a creative force that connects humanity to the divine or infinite. What does it mean to you? Man is a meaning-making machine, and society has agreed upon standard books of, in quote, factual definitions presented in dictionaries, encyclopedias, in quote, YouTube University, and now in quote, TikTok University, that almost stand undisputed, and its explanations by many, informed or not, are taken as gospel. What does hope evoke in you? You can't just walk around saying, I hope, and expect what you desire to manifest. You can't sit in a recliner and say, I have faith, and expect a miracle. Hope and faith without action is fruitless. On the other hand, hope, according to Neville Goddard, is the recognition of an inner reality where hope is generated in the heart, preceding its outward expression, the evidence of the things hoped for. Hebrews 1:1 says, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." Let me reemphasize. You must take action for the things you hope for and the things you do not yet see. Consider the story of the widow in 2 Kings 4:1-7, who faced losing her sons to the jail system because of an unpaid debt left by her deceased husband. Desperate for help, she cried out to the prophet Elijah. Faith required her direct involvement. First, she sought divine guidance from Elijah, confessing that all she had was a small amount of oil in her home. Elijah instructed her to borrow empty jars from her neighbors. Whether it made sense to her or not, she got into action, knocking on doors and collecting as many jars as she could. Following his instructions, she returned home, locked the door, and began pouring from her small amount of oil. Miraculously, the oil kept flowing until all the jars were filled to the brim. Her cup ran it over, as it were. Do you see how action was necessary? She started with hope, believing that things could turn out differently. That hope turned into faith as she sought the prophet, which then led to action. And the desired results manifested. She paid her husband's debt, her sons remained free, and they had plenty of money to live on. I don't know about you, but I'm looking for the lesson in this lesson for my life as I continue to have, in quote, hope, faith, and as I seek divine action to fulfill my goals. As I bring forth these writings, I notice that I am talking to myself as well. These letters are actions taken, answering questions that I seek clarity around. Neville Goddard also says hope is the act of envisioning what is not yet seen and holding it as real in the mind's eye, knowing that God would show us what action to take. In this sense, hope is not distant or passive. It's actually a verb. It is the precursor to faith, the bridge between desire and realization or manifestation. I would clarify hope as beginning or springing up from the deepest core of the soul, the recess of the soul. My father would say this, dig this. Hope is the beginning over and over again. It springs forth from the abyss, vortex, expanse, depth, vacuum, space, darkness, where deep meets deep, or like Wayne Dyer used to say, the gap. I would like to call it also the eye of the storm. I repeat, and I find it safe to state that hope is the initial alignment with the desired state. By focusing on the feeling of the wish fulfilled, hope transitions into faith, a deep knowing that what is imagined must come to pass. In this way, hope is not merely an emotional comfort, but a powerful tool for transformation. What you hope for, I assert, you possess in imagination first. When sick, you imagine excellent health before it manifests. When poor, you imagine riches, and on and on. The key is to claim it now as though it were already yours. Let's look at something else. My friend Neville Goddard might say, hope is action within the realm of the mind. To him, the act of hoping involves actively dwelling in the end state, assuming the feeling of the fulfilled desire. It's already done. It's already done. It's already done. This process, which he called living in the end, turns hope into a conscious act of creation. There is no idleness in hoping. Remember, we can call hope by any name. It is the idea that springs up from our core or the recess of the mind, from our thought, from our imagination. Next, it turns into a knowingness, and then we put divine action into play. Never forget, we have a part to play. I could not simply hope to obtain my two master's degree and my doctorate. I had to do the work. And it was a work I could not do justice in describing accurately because of the hardship and satisfaction I obtained during the process and at its completion. In many instances, it was like walking through the valley of the shadow of doubt and positive imagination. In conclusion, what we classify as hope is the birth of something greater than the present state we are in. Hope is like Dorothy and her companions seeing the Emerald City from a distance, creating hope, and then imagining a desired favorable outcome, each of them getting their heart's desire. And as their hope grew stronger and stronger into faith, we watched the story as they assumed the feeling of the fulfilled desire, or as they began to live in the end, the fulfillment of their desire. Remember how Dorothy, after contemplation, said yes as she stayed in action along the yellow brick road, scared to death sometimes. Her faith was developed along the road to her desire, and her imagined desired outcome of returning home happened. And with that, I say, peace. I hope you enjoyed the podcast on hope. You can look forward to hearing music every time I bring a podcast now because I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. So I'm creating the music using words from the podcast. So please enjoy. And with that, I say peace again.
Hope is the beginning of faith, springing up from the deepest core of our soul, the recess of our soul. Hope is the beginning over and over again. Hope springs forth from the abyss vortex.